Hey there, this is Jonathan, and in the following tutorial, we're going to take a look at downloading images and getting them ready for our assignments. Now, one of the first things that, of course, you can do is always go to Google and search for images. Now, when you look at the images here, you might hover over each, and you'll see that each of them has a file size. It shows you the pixel dimensions. Now, there's a couple things that we need to do right off the bat. If you go to Tools, we want to go to More Tools and show the sizes so that we know which ones are a little bit larger than the others. The other thing that we can do is look for larger sizes than just the small ones. And if you say larger than 1600 by 1200, this is going to give you some pretty large file sizes overall. Now, one more thing to look into is this thing called usage rights. Typically, we want to try and use labeled for reuse, which means that these are Creative Commons images. Now, what Creative Commons is a system of sharing images and audio and video so that other people can use them. Some of the licensing acquires attribution, some of it says non-commercial, some of it says you can't make any changes, and some of them say, hey, you can make as many changes and repeat the same license, but anything that you create with this image also has to be shared with other people. Now, we have another type of copyright which is really important to us as students, and that is called educational fair use. Basically, it says anything that you download, audio, video, or photo that you want to use for an educational purpose, you have the fair use allowance to use it. You just can't use it for personal use. Now, this can be really important because it basically says that anything that you use, once again, you are covered under fair use as long as you are using it for the classroom. If you're using it for your personal portfolio and it's not clear that that portfolio is from a class project, then you're not within educational fair use anymore. And so you just want to be aware of that. Now, if you're looking for places that have public domain images, you may want to look to the Wikipedia page on public domain image resources, and it has tons of links to different websites. One of those websites would be the Creative Commons search itself. You can search for images here, and these images are going to be covered under Creative Commons. But you just don't know that you're going to always get super high quality images or the resolution that you need. Now, you can also look at Flickr. Flickr has great images as well. And if you have a download button over on the right-hand side, this means that you have the ability to use that image. In fact, this one says that it says copyright, all rights reserved. But since we have educational fair use and we have the ability to download an image that's high quality, then it means that we can use these in our projects when they are for educational purposes. So if you want to download an image from here, you can go ahead and download an image. I've already downloaded this one, but I'm going to give it a different name than the code that was there. So I'm just going to replace the image I've already downloaded. And then, of course, there are other sites like Snappy Goat, and even Getty Images allows you to search for images as well, which are free for you to use for non-commercial projects and websites. Now, going back to the Google search, anytime you come to the images here, you do have to be, sometimes it can be a bit tricky to download the images depending upon where they're at. For example, if I go to this one, you'll see that it's a really small image right here, and you might have to visit the website to get to the image, and then maybe it'll give you the ability to download the one that you want, and it did. So this is actually pretty good. I'm actually going to leave the name that's in here because it actually has some really nice information. It has where I got it, and then I'll say this is 2 cats, and then it even tells me the image size, which I'm actually going to change, so I'm going to take that off for right now. But it's kind of nice that you can actually get more information in there. Now, as soon as you've downloaded some images and you've put them into a folder, which is called _originals. This way I've got a number of different images in here. Now we have to prepare these for our projects. Now I'm going to go to Photoshop and load these images in by taking the images and dragging them right into the Photoshop window. Now you can also drag more than one image in, but you do need to be careful about dragging it onto the existing window, because if you drag it onto the existing window, it will be like you're adding it into that file. And what we want to do is add it into the tabbed area above. So we'll go back and we'll drag it up into the tabbed area above. Now for each of these images, they're actually much larger than I need. To see this, we go to Image, Image Size, and you'll see right now that the width of this is 1920 by 1068. Now I want to resize this or resample this so that the largest dimension is 1500 pixels. So we're going to make sure that we're still in pixels, and I'm going to change that from 1900 to 1500. You'll see it's reducing it from 5.87 megs to 3.58, and it's going to reduce the dimension to 1500 by 834. Click OK, and then let's save this. And when you save, it's probably a good idea to keep your quality pretty high with your JPEG. So I tend to use 10 or 11, sometimes even 12 when I want to make sure it's a really nice file. Then we can close that file after, there we go, after you've done that. For the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. Image size. This image is much, much larger, so I'll change it to 1500 pixels wide, and that's 1500 by 1000. And it made it a lot smaller, but the image is not quite as small as it says it is. If you notice right here, it's only 16.7% in size. So if I want to, I can go to 100% size, and you'll see it's actually a pretty large image. We can also do Control 0, and that scales it right into the window to full screen, and that's at 73.5%. Anyway, let's save that with Control S as well. And then I can close that. And the last one, I'll go back to my resizing. That's image, image size, or Alt Control I. And this one will be 1500 pixels by 1000. Same exact thing. And I can now save that again. And then I can close that file. So that's how you prepare your images for your assignments. That way you're keeping your file size down so they're not really, really, really large. And once you've done that, let's go on to the next tutorials. Thanks.